So I'm the darker version of you because I'm wearing a darker green and black pants.
Well, and also just your skin complexion, but
Yeah, it's not that much darker, but it is darker. I'm working on it. I was thinking
For
about
real,
going
I'm
to the
low
pool
key
today.
catching up to you with
Bro,
this Cali
no, for
tan.
real. You just inspired me. I'm gonna go do my homework at the pool today.
It's not raining.
Oh, I mean, by the time we're done with this, maybe. Right now, it's not.
You are speaking it into existence with that cloud next to you. It's looming.
I'll change it to a sunshine cloud.
Well, hey, welcome back to season 2 of the Catchin Up Podcast. I'm Tyler.
I'm Gabriel.
Just for those of you that have forgot, or if you're any new people here, welcome. This is a safe space. We just come to chat, have fun, and maybe inspire sometimes. So I am actually really excited right now because we have coffee to try out for you guys. And it's kind of melting, so I figured we'll kick it off, and then we'll cue the intro. Oh,
Sorry, I had to. There, now you can see.
Just cue the intro right now. We'll get it out the way.
Ladies and gentlemen, the show's about to start. Introducing Catchin Up Podcast.
Catching Up Podcast. If you're not caught up, you're catching up.
I don't necessarily know what that means. All right.
Oh,
so
wait.
What?
Never mind. I was gonna try to figure out a cool transition for us to do, but we can do that at a different time because I gotta figure out with the editing first.
Oh, now he wants to get fancy with it.
I'm trying.
Okay, cool. So we got the pumpkin spice cold brew cream from
Cold foam.
cold foam, yeah, from Starbucks. I never know what to call these things. I always get them,
Okay.
but I don't know what the official term is.
Okay, so what Tyler was trying to say is we got the ice cold brew with the pumpkin spice cold foam on it. I customized mine because I'm bougie, and I just did light ice and then 1 extra pump of vanilla syrup. But we're going to test to see how this tastes. As you can tell, it's been watered down because we got it like
yeah.
20 minutes ago. And we've been waiting to try it here with you. So
Yeah,
if you want, pause the video, go get one.
I didn't do an
Drink it
early
with us?
try this time, all right? I
Yeah,
I
he's
respected the G code.
Yeah. The Gabe code?
Yeah, exactly.
The don't get Gabe mad in the middle of an episode code.
So I'm gonna try the cream first before I go for a full sip. You know what I mean?
Okay, fair enough. Okay, let's judge the foam.
Okay, well it's kind of hard to do that.
Yeah, I got coffee in there. But I don't know if it's just me or I feel like it's not that pumpkin-y. It kind of just tastes like I feel like I taste more cinnamon than I do pumpkin.
Yeah, definitely more cinnamon. But yeah, it has like that hint of pumpkin. Maybe I've been wrong about because I don't usually get pumpkin flavored things. But I've had 2 pumpkin flavored things now in the past week, and I'm liking them both because the pumpkin is not super strong. You know what I mean?
So you mean the stars are aligning?
I guess so. All right, I got a straw to mix mine in. So
I got one too, but I left it in the car.
he said, I got my finger.
So I'm gonna be a man and shake it. Shaky, 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 shaky.
I just get
I guess
scared
this
I'm
is
gonna
more of
spill
a
it, bro.
swirl, honestly.
All right, now
Okay.
you're gonna get the
I did that
full taste test, and then we'll give a rating. All right,
so
here we go.
Okay, I'm gonna take a sip.
Yeah, I mean, I like it, man. It's very subtle on the pumpkin, more cinnamon. If I feel like it should be labeled like a cinnamon pumpkin cold foam because, I mean, unless that's just how they present. Even so, I got like a cinnamon cider, a pumpkin cider, and it I tasted the cinnamon with it too. So I think that's just kind of something that's always included with pumpkin things, I guess. I don't really know.
I think
but
cinnamon's definitely like an ingredient on how you make, because I think that's the spice in pumpkin spice. Cinnamon.
There we go. That makes sense.
Yeah. So I guess, yeah, bro.
It's
If
good,
you
man.
if you
It's
gave this to
good.
me and didn't tell me it was pumpkin spice, I don't think I'd think it was pumpkin spice.
I don't know what I would think it was, but I wouldn't say it's just cinnamon because there is something else there. I
But
just don't
it's
know.
not
if it's
pumpkin.
Yeah, if it's this, it's just not. It's very, very subtle. But in terms of, I'm gonna rate it on my basis of how I like it. It's good though. I'm gonna give it a. Okay, and let's keep in mind this is a Starbucks rating. This isn't like out of all coffees. This is, because Starbucks coffee, it's good, but it's
yeah.
not like. So I'm gonna give this an 8.5 out of 10. I think it's very good. I think they could enhance the pumpkin just a little bit, and yeah, I mean, again, it's not like I'm more of like a mocha or a caramel, so like that would be a really good one of those would be where 10 would rank, but for this, I was expecting to not really like it that much. Like, I wasn't expecting to hate it, but I wasn't expecting to like it. And I enjoyed it. So, yeah, 8.5 out of 10.
So
I would definitely get it again.
okay, so you saying that definitely changed my perspective because out of coffee, I was like, eh. But out of Starbucks coffee,
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a fair rating because Starbucks coffee, once you've had other
Starbucks
ones,
coffee
it's-
only goes up to like 6. In
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
okay, so out of Starbucks coffee, the only complaint I have about this, and this is just a personal preference, it's not like I can still adjust it and then it'll be better. Now that I haven't drank it for a little bit, it leaves this weird bitter, like I don't like this taste in my tongue still that's like left in my mouth.
I don't really get that.
Maybe it's the air.
Maybe it is. Maybe it's
I
that
don't know.
Florida. Maybe it's
Yeah.
that Florida water they're mixing the coffee with, huh?
Yeah, there's probably so much fluoride in here. That's probably what it is. So I would give it a 7. Like I don't think it's anything crazy. Like
No.
I for thinking what it is based off what I expected, this is a letdown. But based off like, is this good coffee? Like I would definitely drink this again. Like this is
Sure.
honestly usually what I order. Is just like the cold brew with cold foam. So I still drink it. So I'd say like a 7, 7.5.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just
pretty
like-
good.
It's a good, but it's not great in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. I think it's above good, but I don't know if I'd go as far as saying it's like great. It's like, oh my gosh, but I wouldn't like freak out about it. But if
yeah,
I was like,
it
hey,
might
this
have
is on
just
the
been the
menu, sure.
amount of cold foam too, though, because from what I remember, I used to get like a whole like that bit of cold foam, like a good chunk, to where it's like it would be hard to get the coffee at first sip.
Sure.
And this one, I feel like I just didn't have enough cold foam, so it could be that too. It could just be because it's not.
Yeah, it
as
did
sweet.
melt a little bit too, so it's not as like
Yeah.
it wasn't as thick when we got
Okay,
to
I'll
it
change
as
it.
well.
7.5.
There we go. Now you're speaking to the fans here.
Cheers.
Okay, cool. Well, that is our review of the pumpkin spice cold foam from Starbucks. We'll probably
We'll see
be
you next
trying
week.
some
No, I'm
other. Yeah, we're out. We'll probably be trying some other pumpkin spice from different coffee shops in our areas this Halloween season. So let us know if that's. Let us know if you have any recommendations. If there's any you like. I'm in Cali. He's in Florida. So, you might have to kind of differentiate your recommendations from there. But, depending on where you're tuning in from.
Yeah. Yo, did you I just saw this on the way or before I got Starbucks. Did you see the new announcement that Logan Paul, KSI, and MrBeast did?
No.
Dude, I was like, this is crazy that they're doing this, but it's genius.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Let's hear it.
They have made a competitor for Lunchables called Lunchly. And it's the same exact thing. It's a pizza, nachos, or like cracker with turkey and cheese.
Yeah.
Except there's the Lunchly comes with, instead of like a Crunch bar or something like that, it'll come with a Feastables bar, which is MrBeast
right.
brand. And
Yeah.
then instead of Capri Sun or something like that, it'll come with a Prime drink. And they are like
Prime.
in every aspect of like each one of like different type. Because
Sure.
there's only 3 boxes, like I said. There's only 3 different kinds. So each one has less sugar than the Lunchables and more protein than the Lunchables that it's compared to. And it's like better quality because, like, I guess Lunchable, I didn't know this, but Lunchables, their cheese isn't cheese. Like, they're not even allowed to call it cheese. It's like processed mozzarella something product. They're not allowed to call it cheese, but then theirs is like, this is real cheese and like it's healthier and better. So, bro, when I saw that, I was like, that's genius. Like, I can't think of a competitor for Lunchables, and Lunchables have been around since we were kids.
Yeah, I think I've seen there's one brand that I've seen that does. I think they don't have like a bunch of the different ones. But yeah, I mean it's super smart, man. I think that's kind of Logan Paul, like what he's been going towards. Like obviously Prime is essentially a healthier Gatorade in a way. You know what I mean?
I don't like it.
It's less
but
sugar.
yeah.
I kind of like it, man. I tried it a few times and like I've enjoyed it.
Every time I've had
but-
one, I'm like, this is syrup.
No, I don't. I mean, okay, yeah, the flavors
No.
are kind of they're kind of strong, but I don't know. It's not bad. I don't mind it. Like again, it's not like I'm drinking it every now and then. Usually I would get one if I was like going to play basketball or something, just for like, the electrolytes and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I feel like this is kind of this like alley he's targeting is like, okay, finding products that are food products that are very obviously like marketable. It can be to kids, it can be to adults. And how do I make a quote unquote better version than what's out there or what seems to be a better version, Because then he had the whole lawsuit against Prime and it was saying it had forever chemicals. I don't know like how true that was. I heard many different things surrounding it. But like, so I think that's just his whole thing now. And when you have people like him and KSI and MrBeast who all have infinite amounts of money, it seems like at this point, like you can do whatever you want, like any brand you want to do. If you have a thought of something, you're like, yeah, let me do that. Which is kind of crazy.
I mean, yeah, they all are. Like, even David Dobrik with like Dobrik's Pizza.
I haven't tried that yet. I should try that and give it a review because it's only out
should.
here. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. There's only one star, I think.
I saw the reviews and I heard it wasn't like that good, so I was never
Yeah, me
like
too. I heard
intrigued
the
to
same.
go there and get it. But we had the MrBeast chocolate when you came out here, didn't you get it?
Yeah, I've had it a couple times.
Yeah,
I've had their
it's like-
gummies too.
Oh, I
They
didn't
have
know you
gummies
did
now.
gummies too. Wow.
It's like it honestly tasted like they looked like Skittles, but like the gummy Skittles,
Yeah.
but they tasted like Punch Bites. Like the punch straws,
Bites? Oh,
but the bite
those are
ones.
good.
Yeah, so it was pretty good.
Those are good. I rock with those. Wow. Okay. Well, I guess
wanna
we'll see how
rock
that
right
goes.
now. And then I saw another
Lunchlies.
thing, which I want to know what your opinion on it is I've heard a lot of like not controversial things, but like there's a lot of people that are upset that Lil Wayne is not gonna be the halftime performance in New Orleans because he is from New Orleans, so it's
Sure.
like his hometown, and he
Yep.
didn't get it. They gave it to Kendrick Lamar. For those of you
Yeah.
that don't know, and I just want to hear what your opinion on it is.
I mean, listen, I'm not as quote unquote outraged as other people are because at the end of the day, I don't know. I think people just like, get enraged about some of the most crazy stuff. And I'm not saying it's, yes, it's something to be upset about and stuff, but it just like blew up like crazy. And I'm like, listen, I get it. In my personal opinion, yes, I would have went Lil Wayne because it is his hometown. And not that the Super Bowl has ever been oh, we have to pick an artist from the hometown. But like, this was such a great opportunity to do it. He had expressed his interest in wanting to do it. He could have brought out the Young Money team. Like, there were so many cool ways to go about it, and they could have paid.
He's a timeless artist, bro. He's he was
and,
the #1 rapper for years.
Yeah, and he still is #1 on a lot of people's like all-time lists.
Mm-hmm.
And he's getting older, so like these opportunities are gonna start to fade away. And again, it will probably not be in New Orleans the next time, he's able to perform it. So, but I do understand the aspect of like, why I'm getting feedback now on your side. Did you adjust something? Like, I can hear myself talk.
That's weird.
Hold on. I can't now. Okay. Anyways, I do understand the aspect of Kendrick. Like, he's the hip and happening guy right now, bro. Like, he has the biggest song in the world, arguably coming off of one of the greatest years so far in terms of like, yeah, he's had amazing moments in hip hop and in his career, but like, this is huge. This went like beyond, this whole beef went beyond what everybody thought it would. Everybody was talking about this. People who don't even listen to rap,
Yeah, that's true.
So, I do, and I think Kendrick's an amazing performer, and I think that he's gonna do an amazing job at it. So it's like, I'm not upset that we're getting a Kendrick concert by any means.
No,
like,
not at all.
That's an amazing thing. But yeah, I think that if it was something where like they approached Wayne and he was like, nah, you know what, I don't want to do it, I think you should give it to this guy, then yeah, I mean, of course. But I don't think that's how it went down, as Lil Wayne came out with a video saying that he was very upset by not being chosen. And so, yeah, I mean, it's like, is it upsetting? Yes. Am I losing sleep over it? No. Like, it's not that big of a deal to me. I mean, the Super Bowl, I'm not, like, I'll watch it, but it's not something that, I'm super big into. And I'm like, I don't know, bro. At the end of the day, like, yeah, it would have been a cool thing, but he can do a bunch of hometown concerts too. You know what I mean? So, like, I do get the upset and, like, I do get the arguments people have. But at the same time, I'm just like, there's more important things to be worried about right now,
True.
What about you?
No, I agree with pretty much everything you said. It was like, man, would have been such a cool opportunity. Like,
exactly.
That would have been such a, like, the circumstances were perfect. Like you said, he's getting old. And it's just one of those things that I don't think anyone's necessarily arguing, oh, why Kendrick? Why would they do that? He doesn't even... No, he deserves it. It makes total sense why they picked him. It just would have been really, really cool if they picked Lil Wayne.
Yeah, and the hard thing is like, if they would have picked another artist besides Kendrick, they could have potentially brought Lil Wayne out. But I don't think with... because obviously, like, Kendrick and Lil Wayne, like, they have songs. I'm sure, like, I don't think Wayne
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, I don't think he was taking sides with this beef either, but obviously I'm pretty sure he's more ride or die to Drake than he is Kendrick, right? And I don't think he would, who knows? Maybe he will. Maybe they can, like, put the differences and the pride aside for that night and just have him come out. I don't know. But I think it's very highly unlikely, whereas if you went and got Travis Scott or, Little Baby or somebody else that, like, there's not really any animosity there, they could have just brought Lil Wayne out as a featured artist, so I don't know.
Yeah, bro, I agree. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, the only way it would, like, I guess they could compensate was to bring him out, but then I was like, oh, but the beef, the Drake,
yeah,
like, I feel like it would just be messy. Like,
you think
it would be blowing up, but not because of their performance. It would be blowing up because of drama.
Yeah,
and I don't think either one of them necessarily want that.
You think Wayne gonna be out there vibing hard to Not Like Us? Like, nah. Kendrick's got to play that, bro. He's got to play that.
Apparently, every single artist that performs on the halftime show, they don't actually get paid. They pay for the performance because their streams skyrocket. Yeah. So it's like,
I learned that last year. I didn't know that until then.
Yeah, so do you also think it's like this is gonna be like Kendrick's final, like, I guess, like, super boost, because I feel like after the Super Bowl, he has the potential to beat a lot of like Drake's records in the sense of he's already blowing up this whole year, and that's gonna be a fat boost right at the end.
No. I mean, bro, if you look at the numbers, like, yeah, maybe he might do something in streams for this year, but Drake has still been the most streamed rapper every month this year. And when the beef was at like a peak, Kendrick was like catching up and was, I think, number 2 or number 3, but he's since then dropped down. So like, yeah, I think it'll definitely increase that. But I mean, bro, Drake's numbers are realistically just pretty untouchable. You know, like it's just, and
Except
again,
Michael.
he has, yeah, but he has, well, he's catching up. He caught up to him with number 1s, but
Correct.
The thing is also Drake has a way bigger catalog than Kendrick too. So there's a lot more to
and he's
stream.
a lot more versatile in the sense of like,
yeah, of course,
genres
listening
too.
music, you know, versus like but I don't know. I mean, you know, I think it'll be great for his brand. I mean, especially a lot of people have been saying he's looking to drop a new album. Some people think that this new album could be where Kendrick makes a turn and does almost like a Drake styled album where there's just like, it's filled with like, you know, bangers and like club type hits and stuff like that. Speculation. But if it is a year where he's going to drop an album, I mean, it would be an amazing platform for him to either release it and then perform some songs there, or, you know, do the Super Bowl and be like, hey, I got an album coming out, and then everybody's going to be looking forward to it, you know. He is doing, though, I mean, his numbers this year have been incredible. I mean, he just dropped a snippet on his IG and did like 30 million views or something in a very short amount of time. So I think like this next album will probably be his best-selling album, I think, just because like I think there's so many new fans there now, you know, and he was able to reach, you know, some of the younger generation now and kind of like get into that zone, whereas like, you know, because him, Drake, J. Cole, like they're our generation. They're not these 16-year-olds now, right? So when Not Like Us became so big, it reached such a broader audience that they can now be like, oh, let me go listen to some of his other stuff, you know.
Bro, I mean, it even happened to us, and it was our generation. He just wasn't necessarily the person we like dove into, like catalog-wise. But even this year, because of those songs and the drama and like everything that's going on, like we did.
Yeah.
Like, we did do a whole album review for him. Like, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
On 2 different albums.
Yeah, very true. Very true. So yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see. I wonder if he's gonna bring anybody out.
Bro, I hope he brings.
Think he will.
Okay, then let's say our top 3 picks for people he should bring out. I think Future for sure, because they gotta play whatever song
like
got
that?
them like that. Because I think that'd be a hit. I think he should bring Miguel. Yeah, Miguel's voice, bro. Yeah, a lot.
Oh, okay. I just did. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure. And if it's not Miguel, my bad. I'll fix it right here. And then who else? How funny would it be if he brought J. Cole?
That would be crazy.
That would be crazy.
How crazy would it be if the whole thing was a ploy, since the first-person shooter song was big as a Super Bowl, and then all 3 of them come out together?
Yo,
I don't think I don't think that ever happens, but I think it would be insane.
I'm trying to think, like, who else could he bring on?
I don't know, because the thing is, bro, he hasn't, to my knowledge, he hasn't popped out at anybody else's shows. Like Future and Metro Boomin are on tour. He hasn't popped up anywhere there. Travis is on tour, hasn't popped up there. You know, these other dudes have had albums come out that have supported him. He hasn't posted anything about them. Like, I really think he's a very get in and get out type of artist. Like, I don't think he likes the spotlight that much. So, obviously this beef put a lot of light and attention on him, but I think, he's somebody who like, hey man, I'm just here to do my thing and like, that's it, and, which is kind of interesting in itself because it's like Drake has helped so many of these artists and he's also like continued helping so many of these artists, but he gets flock for it. But then Kendrick does, something and then doesn't continue to support them and like nobody cares. So it's weird, right? But
has Drake ever done a halftime show?
No. And there's been a lot of, ever since this Kendrick thing came out, there's now been a lot of speculation. Some people are saying he's turned it down 4 times. He's turned it down 2 times. I don't really know which is true, but I could definitely imagine that he was offered it before. I don't see why he wouldn't. I mean, he's been one of the biggest artists for the past 15 years. I personally think it's insane to think he hasn't been offered a Super Bowl.
But maybe it's because he's Canadian.
I mean, possibly, but at the same time, like, he just has such a vast catalog and so many people know him and so many people listen to him. So, but I don't know. I mean, why would he turn it down? I don't know. I think Taylor Swift's also turned it down as well. So everybody has their reasons. Maybe they're on tour. Maybe they just don't feel like putting a set together. I don't know. But, I don't know. I mean, everybody obviously comes up with all these things whenever something happens. So
I don't think Taylor Swift turned it down. I think they switched it because Rihanna had an album coming out and she hadn't had an album come out in like 10 years.
No,
so
I think
that. I don't think I don't think it was like a Taylor Swift was like, nah.
No, I think
but
she turned it down because she was on tour at the time. Like she was planned to be in another country at the time or something like that.
I don't want to hear it. If she can be in Japan and then still make it to the Travis Kelce show, I mean, not show, game, she can do the halftime show.
Yeah. I mean,
but,
true. But
no,
that's the thing about Rihanna, too, man. She, she didn't have a new album, but she has, I mean, endless hits. So she was like,
how many hits were hers.
Crazy,
like, she
bro.
was singing them, and I'm like, yo, I know almost all of these.
She's still like also one of the most streamed, I think, artists too, or like her songs or something like that. And I'm like, bro, her music is just like, it just lasts, like she doesn't need to drop new albums for her stuff to stay relevant or for her to continue being popular. She's one of the very few that's been able to maintain that.
The longevity, like she nailed it.
And her makeup brand after the Super Bowl, I think, is what got all the increase, which is amazing because I'm sure that's a big part of her income.
Yeah, I heard
nowadays,
that's like her main income, and that's why she doesn't make music anymore.
Dang, for that only being a 7.5, you drained it, bruh. I ain't even done with mine yet.
Well, because all you do is talk.
Okay, then you talk.
All right, so we had our first fan finally give us a topic. So thank you. I'm sorry if I mispronounce it, but it's Lena Lauren. And she asked, have we ever gotten a wedgie? And if so, what's the story?
Like, no, nobody's ever given one to me, but like, I mean, inherently, I think we all get like small ones in our lifetime. You know what I mean? Like,
same, unfortunately. I don't think I've ever gotten.
I don't have a story behind it.
I've gotten a wedgie in the sense of like, it wasn't even a wedgie. Like I was putting on a harness to go ziplining, and dude, I thought they were gonna be cut off. I thought it was just gonna go snip, and I was just gonna lose them.
Yeah, I think honestly, it sometimes can be like the same thing when you're like going down a fast water slide, like depending, because your pants can go up or they can go down. It's kind of a
also. Have you ever given one? Because that is the full
no.
question. It's like, have you ever given or have you gotten?
I don't want to touch somebody's drawers.
I think I have, but I don't think I like pulled their underwear. I think I just grabbed them by their pants and just.
Yeah. I don't think so. I mean, unless I don't have the the biggest memory when it comes to like being a child, so I don't know.
We're just
but
full of trauma. It's okay.
But listen, we appreciate the question. It means a lot that you watched the video and heard us ask for a suggestion, so we appreciate that.
You know what I have had happen though is I've had my like pant loop or like pocket get caught on like a hook on a door, and then it like pulls me, and it's kind of like a wedgie. So I've had that happen.
True. Okay.
I just feel like I have gotten a wedgie. I just can't remember.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I feel like I don't know. I maybe like I don't know. My uncle might have given me one at some point in my life, or like I don't know, a friend being stupid or something. But
my subconscious is trying to put like the code to all the memories that I locked away, trying to like see if we can figure it out.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, I think that we don't have much on that, so we should talk about our Horror Nights experience.
Okay.
And compare and contrast, because how many have you been for like a full night, or have you only gone after work so far?
I've only gone after work so far.
Okay. Have you experience a lot of it?
Most of it. I haven't done all of it. If you want, we could, because I also know you only went once, right? And you're not gonna go again.
Right. Well, I got to do everything.
Okay, it's if you want, because I'm gonna go like literally tonight, so I can see what I've missed, and then I think I can think by next week I can try to do like more. It just depends.
Okay.
If you want, we can postpone it to next week, but if you want, we can also talk about it now.
No,
so you don't forget.
That's cool. That's cool. Well, I have my thoughts here and there, but I mean, no, we could go about it and compare and contrast and stuff like that. Because I also I'll probably check out, there's a few other things out here that I want to check out, like Knott's Berry and Six Flags Fest. So that's why, because I'm like with Universal, I got to go for free. So I'm like, to pay again and go on like wait in lines, like it wasn't that great to where I'd want to do that again. Like if I didn't get to go, I would go, but I was like, since I already got to go, I'm definitely not gonna go again, But it was fun. Yeah. I enjoyed it for sure. And I got to see.
We gotta look at it. Do we have the same exact houses or no?
No, you have a couple different. There's a couple different ones.
I heard your guys' Insidious house sucked and ours are not. Ours didn't suck.
It was good. It wasn't the best one to me, but it was fun. It was fun.
See, that was the only one out of the ones I've done so far that actually got me scared. Like 3 times I was like, I almost like cursed the baby out. You know what I mean? Like I genuinely was like jumped.
I mean, my girlfriend was leading the way in that one, and there were points where like it was pitch black and you couldn't see, so like you had to feel along the walls to see which direction you were going. But she was the one doing that.
Oh, that's weird. We didn't have to touch
that
walls.
That was crazy. That was weird. I mean, I don't know if we were just not able to follow distinctly, but like, yeah, there were points where like, okay, where do we go here? The thing I will say, and just like this was my comparison last year from Horror Nights to Six Flags Fright Fest. Of course, yes, Universal has way better set design. It's a much grander scale, but their houses are not as creative in terms of like. You'll see what I mean when I explain it. In the sense of like, at some of the flags at some of the houses at Six Flags, there was like at one point where it was a big wall in the middle and there was a very thin space on 2 sides, and like you and your group are supposed to separate and go through, and you're literally walking through it sideways. There were some houses where like actors are attached to bungee cords, so they jump out at you and get pulled back by the bungee. Like that's crazy. It might not be scary, but you're just like, you don't expect it, right? There were parts where like you had to go through like very tight spaces. You had to duck down and crawl underneath something. Like
that's so sick.
And there were even some houses where like And I don't know if it was just because it wasn't like a super busy night that they did this. I don't think so. But there were some houses where they let just your group go in. And it was only me and my girlfriend that went. So, like, it was just two of us in the house alone. That's scary, you know, because half the time at horror nights, you see the person in front of you getting scared and you're like, okay, it's still scary, but I know what's coming. If you're in there alone, like, it's very, like, you know, unsettling. You're like, I don't know what's next. Where do we go? And there was even one it was an outside house. And there was a point, bro, where, like, it was so foggy that we legit could not see where to go. And this one scare actor, like, had a pop up and he was like literally like instructing us where to go because we had no idea. But like there was certain things like that where I'm like, this is what makes houses more fun. And like, I don't know if Universal is just like they have more safety regulations or they just want to be super, you know, they don't want to take chances with people falling or having fear of tight spaces. Like, I don't really know. But I think things like that make haunted houses a lot more fun, a lot more interactive, versus just walking in like straight lines. You know what I mean? So that's something that I enjoy about Fright Fest a lot more than Halloween Horror Nights. But again, I think Halloween Horror Nights definitely outdoes them in terms of the amount of scare actors and the amount of like set design. But in terms of like interactiveness, I think Six Flags beats them for sure.
That's what I hear a lot about. Like almost all other parks that do scare zone, like even like Hallow Scream, where it's like a lot scary. There's no lines.
Have you been to Hallow Scream?
I have not. That's one of my goals this year, actually, is to go.
I haven't either. I've always been curious about it, but growing up in Florida, it was always like the lesser of Halloween Horror Nights. But now that I've been to that out here and like I enjoyed it, I'm like, okay, well maybe it's
the
just
lesser
like
might be better.
Because the thing is, like, I feel like, you know, people get different things from it. Like, my girlfriend loves to, like, she doesn't really get scared that easily. Like, I get scared way more easily than her.
Does.
So
he screams the whole time.
She would prefer to walk through the house, look at the set design, look at the details. Whereas me, I'm just, like, looking out for the scare. I'm not even necessarily paying attention to, like, you know, the details and the painting and the animatronics and all that stuff, you know. So I guess it just depends on what you're going in for, what you're trying to get out of it. But yeah, and you know, we'll get into the rest of it later because I don't want to go into too much detail. But yeah, we'll cover our full experiences in the next one so that we can compare and contrast. And I think I still remember my favorite houses, so I'll do my top three then, and you can do your top three then.
I was just saying that I feel like that's always the case, is that they're never as good in the sense of like design and stuff, but the scares are always better. There's no line, and one thing that I hate that Universal does, which I appreciate that a lot of other places do, is the holding of groups. Because there's been times where I've gone through the line, and because it's literally one after another, like thousands of people continuously going through together, I've gone through houses where I've missed every single scare, and every single one either happened in front of me or behind me.
Sure. And
like honestly, that stuff kind of sucks, because if you're a person that just buys a 1-day pass and you don't have time to go. Well, most of the time you don't have time to go through houses twice. So it's like you just waited in line to like not get scared at all. Like like it just completely missed you.
Yeah.
So
I get that.
That's like the biggest complaint. And I also think it would make lines go somewhat faster. Like I get how in theory it wouldn't, but you don't have to do like the fattest gap in the world, like have them completely go through. Just do like every 30 seconds, another group. Wait 30 seconds. All right, another group. You know what I mean? Or even like a minute. I don't know how that would be, because I know there's like different ways to do it, but it's like it's the biggest pain, bro.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's definitely an interesting thing to figure out, but you know, because it does get so busy. I honestly wish that they would just set a limit to where like it wouldn't be insanely busy. But I get that like, hey man, we're gonna let as many people as we can in because that's money. But sometimes I'm like, if they put a capacity, then like the lines wouldn't get insanely long. Like I'm not saying make it super limited, but just to where you're not waiting in a 3-hour line. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's kind of crazy.
Well, luckily, I don't know if it's just because it hasn't been as busy when I've gone, or what the case is.
It's just the big. I mean, it's still September.
Yeah, it is still September. It started 2 weeks early too, so maybe some people already went that go once in a while. It is still a little hot, so maybe people are also waiting for it to cool down. I don't know.
And it's been raining too, huh?
And it's been raining, yeah. So it's it hasn't been that bad, like 3-hour lines yet, but it can definitely get there. I don't know. It's just I have my complaints about Halloween Horror Nights and how it's ran, but it's just at the capacity. But they what they did do that was cool was that they did put a cap. I don't know if they've always done this, but at least this year I know because it sold out like almost instantly was express passes. Like they had only a limited amount of express passes.
That's smart.
Yeah, because then it's still worth it. Because if half the people are, because I think they didn't last year, from what I'm aware of, and I could be completely wrong, and everything I'm going to say doesn't even matter. But I'm pretty sure they didn't before, and then I guess people just have money like that. So I guess it was like to the point that Express wasn't even worth it because everyone had it. It's like TSA now, how like everyone has TSA pre-check, so now no one's like, it's losing its value. So they put a cap on it, and
Okay. Interesting.
Which is fire, low key, because if you're one of the lucky few that are able to get it and in time, virtually you don't ever have to really wait in a line because
for sure.
So many.
Okay, cool. Well, I'll be intrigued to. Are you going? You're going for like a full night tonight?
No, I gotta wait for Delaney to get out of work.
So he's only gonna do 2 houses again.
No, like it's just it depends on the group I go with. You know what I mean? Like I've been 3 different times. One time I got there, I was only there for like an hour and a half, so I went through one house, and then we just hung out. The other time I was there for like 3 hours, and we still only went through one house because people just like want to go on rides and stuff like that, which is fine. But then the third time I went, I literally went on like 4 houses. Because the people I went with it was Tommy and Nell. They were visiting. Yeah. So and they brought some two friends over too. So it was cool meeting them. But like that's all they want to do is hit as many houses as possible. So then, because of them, I was able to do like more than half the houses. Yeah. So I'm only missing a couple.
Okay. Do you guys have the weekend house there?
That was last year, or 2 years ago.
You're not missing anything. Don't worry.
No. Oh, you guys have it?
Yeah.
No, I went through it when it was in Orlando, and I like it was cool. Like it was like, but I didn't get it.
I just listen. I thought it was cool for the first time, and I'm like, okay, yeah, give him, let him have his fun platform. Does a great job with the design again, and like the music is obviously cool, but like I don't know. It's not scary, bro. It's not. It has nothing to do with Halloween.
No,
you know what I mean? I'm like, this is not like you could be getting, I don't know, a Universal Classic or some other IP. Again, let him have his 1 year, and then like that's it, bro. But yeah, we have it again this year. I didn't go through it last year because there was the lines, but since we went on employee night, we did, and I don't know, it didn't do it for me. But
no, I didn't get it at all.
Yeah. So But yeah, man, other than that, just been, working, trying to keep up with my Bible study. I just made it to Corinthians. I just finished Romans, which was that's a great, that's basically lays out the foundations of the Christian theology as a whole. So many notes, so many things I want to delve in on from Romans, and of course all the other, different ones as well. But yeah, I think that's something that I want to, it takes time though to try to just read and write down and understand and try to figure out, questions and stuff like that. Have you been able to get back into your reading at all recently, or?
A little bit. My mom just actually sent me a plan. It was called Fear Not, or How Not to Fear, or something like that. So I might start doing that.
Is
I
that
just
from the
realized
app, or?
it's from the app. I need to get my study Bible because I realized that it's at my grandma's. So I gotta get my study Bible because it has like helpful notes on the sides and stuff like that. So I want to do that. But yeah, other than that,
In terms of what, like, so it's basically, it's a Bible, but on the side of it, it has like what, meetings correlating with verses, or
yeah,
kind of an
sometimes
overall.
it depends on the page. You know what I mean? Like some pages don't even have anything on the sides, but sometimes it'll give you like a story of someone that like this passage applied to, or it'll break down what was going on at that time. So like this was actually a really big deal as opposed to, not. Or it'll give me like definitions of certain words that like most people have like misconceptions about or like don't know what they mean.
Right.
So it has like helpful tips like that.
Have you made it all the way fully through the Bible? Just out of curiosity, I don't know if you.
No. I've started like a year plan or like those 1 year plans where you read the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I did that for a while, but I don't think I've ever, maybe in like sections, like broken apart throughout my life.
Yeah, of course.
But I've never like, which shame on me honestly, but like I have never like
No, I'm just
sat
curious.
and like just read through the whole Bible front to back or all of it.
Well, I mean, bro, and that's the thing is also like I feel like it's just such a different it's a different journey, it's a different experience for everybody, cuz even I was listening to George Janko, he just had on Johnny Chang, which if you haven't watched that one, it's a great episode.
The guy with
He's
tattoos?
like- Yeah, he like was a gang member, was in jail from age 12 to 25, and now like he's completely dedicated his life to Christ, and he's such a soft-spoken and well-spoken man. But anyways, he was, they were just chatting, and he was talking with George. He's like, "Have you made it full through?" And George is like, "Well, because George is still, he's like, although he's always grown up in a Christian family, he's still pretty new along his like actual journey, because you can grow up as a Christian and not like practice, you know what I mean, or
Yeah.
like put forth an effort of what it actually
Believing
means to
in
be."
God and being a Christian are two different things.
Absolutely. So, but he was saying, he's like, "Well, I'm reading it right now," and he's like, it's not necessarily, he's like, my goal to like try to read it all in a year or this and that. He's like, every time I read a verse or chapter, he's like, I read it again like 5 times, because even for me sometimes, bro, I'm like, I'll be reading and I try to correlate. I always use like a Bible reference to, which is a website you can use to go and like get explanations, which I highly recommend if you're,
What
if you don't have
website
a,
are you using?
well, so I use the Bible app right now to read because I need to get a Bible, but I've just been using the app so far. But so it's not like if you don't have a study Bible, like he was saying, I really recommend BibleRef.com, because you can go there and you can look up any verse and it'll give a full and detailed explanation. And then you can, at the end of the chapter, you can look up the chapter context. It'll give you a full summary. It'll kind of point out different ideas. And it's such a good way to kind of break things down, because, again, a lot of the times, in the Bible, there's going to be a lot of things you probably don't understand upon first reading. There's going to be a lot of things that might be confusing, or parables, or stories that like just don't click. And this really helps to like just kind of bring it into perspective. And so that's been a great help for me too. And even sometimes, like, I like to always, if I'm ever like, if I ever have a verse that I want to write down, I always try to like either journal or take a little note after it. But even sometimes I'll write down some of the notes that they have as well, because I'm like, oh, okay, this is a really good way to explain this. And this is a really good way for me to understand and like, help it stick in my brain, so that like if I ever need to then break this verse down, or if I'm ever explaining it to somebody or somebody has questions, like I can always just refer back to this. But yeah, it's called Bible Ref. It's such a good just place for you to go if you, again, don't have a study Bible and just need some sort of understanding, because I feel like if you just read through, you're not really gaining the knowledge and the wisdom from it. And even like, man, I'll go through my verses, sometimes I'll just look through my notes and I'm like, oh, like I forgot about that, or like it that clicks to me now, and because I have those notes there. So I think that's such a helpful way too, if like, when you're reading your Bible, I don't know if you do this as well, but like just get a notebook, and if there's a verse that sticks out to you, or something that, you feel you might need to help other people along in their journey, write it down and then just do a little journal. Like usually I'll be like, okay, what does this mean? Like, how am I interpreting this? And then I'll go and look it up, and I'll see like the actual interpretation of it, or like, what they use as the interpretation. Because obviously things can be interpreted in different ways, but the truth is the truth, right? And yeah, it's been such a help in my journey in reading so far and helping to break it down. So, yeah, I don't personally have like a goal of how, long it's going to take me to read it. It's like, as long as I'm staying consistent with it and getting in it on a, hopefully daily basis. Sometimes it's not always daily, but, I try to at least read a chapter on a daily basis. Then it really helps stay consistent and fresh in my mind. And it also just like fulfills me so much, bro. Like it's so nice in comparison to like, if you instead opt to like doom scroll, I don't know, you just don't feel, you feel like lonely, or you feel like wasting time. But like I can sit and read my Bible for like an hour or two, and it's just like, I feel like the time just flew, bro,
Mm-hmm.
So it's been a great experience so far, and like I said, I'm not trying to like rush it. I'm really trying to understand and learn, and I think that's such a big thing. So if that's something that like, anybody out there is just starting to get into, I mean, from my personal recommendation would be just take your time, make sure you're like doing your best to understand what's actually being said, so that you can not only apply it to your life, but again, help others as well. So yeah, I started with the Gospels because that's what I watch a lot of Cliff and Stuart Connectly, and that was like one of the recommendations of where to start, because that's where you learn about Jesus in the original Gospels, So yeah, and then I'm just going from there. But yeah, it's been good, man. I've been really, really enjoying learning and growing with it, So
That's good, bro. Another website too, if you ever want to check it out, is Blue Letter Bible.
okay.
It's also a website that breaks verses down, and it gives different perspectives of different theologians, because they all like how like every branch of Christianity has a different perspective on certain things. So
Yeah.
it's cool
Sure.
seeing like that, and then you can kind of pick and choose other people that you kind of like-minded look at verses with. Also, one thing that was big that I never did until this one pastor said it, and I was like, I don't know why I never even thought of that, but it's before you read your Bible, like it's good to like pray and like ask for, because like it's literally in the Bible, like ask and you shall receive. So it's like pray and ask for like discernment, to where you can understand the way that, like, understand what God's talking about, and not see it through your eyes, but see it through His eyes, because we see things very differently. And and humans in general are very good at finding exactly what they're looking for, even though that might not be what's in front of them.
And taking the parts out they don't want to be looking
Exactly.
for.
Like think about, like, even just like relationships, right? Like if you're one of the person that's always excuse me, if you're one of those people that are always looking for red flags, that's all you're going to find is red flags. So if you're reading the Bible and being like, should I land this role of this movie that I really, really want, but I don't know if I should do, it's really easy to just go in and look for things that are telling you exactly what you want to hear.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
misinterpreting it. because that's what you
Right.
want. So it's like just asking for discernment. And you said you just got to Ephesians, right?
No, Corinthians, First Corinthians.
Corinthians are good. Ephesians is good. I was gonna say something about Ephesians, but I forgot.
There's
now.
so many that are like, I'm like, look, because
yeah, they're
I
so
watch
good.
a lot of videos and I hear them, quoting different verses and stuff like that, and I'm like, man, I'm excited to get to those, but gotta take my time with it,
Yeah, I can't wait till you get to there. There's this one book, and it's literally there's like chapters where it's like this person, son of this person, father of this person, cousin of this person, and you're just reading it and you're like, what?
That's
it's
been a couple of those,
yeah. So it's like it's so funny but then you try to like connect the dots, and then they're like, oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, bro. I also one thing that I learned personally is that there's like two different types. I'm sure there's more than two different types, but just to like wrap things up because we're already at 55.
Sure.
Have you figured out, because I know you watch a lot of podcasts about like Christianity and like journeys and stuff like that. Do you watch like sermons too?
Like pastors preaching. Yeah.
Have you figured out what kind of pastor you prefer? Because there's like the two main styles of preaching is they either have a theme,
Sure,
and then they're picking verses that fit that theme.
Okay.
Or you have pastors that say, these are the verses we're going through, or chapter, whatever it may be, usually it's just a couple verses. And then they go through every single verse and then discuss everything that was going on in that time. It's a lot more like historically accurate than it is like, I'm trying to get to the point and this is what I'm trying to show you. Like,
yeah.
I totally, does that make sense first?
With a lot of
and
those.
then
Yeah,
do you
absolutely.
have a preference?
It's I don't know. It's kind of it's different times, man. It just depends on what I'm going through. The church I go to, it's very much so breaking down the word and like very in the word, which I think is super important. I think like that is the foundation. Like if you're not getting into the word, then like I don't think it's an actual like sermon in a way, right? Because like that's what you're just going there to Bible study, right? But we've even had different pastors in there, and one of the coolest experiences for me, especially it was like when I was first started going to church, the pastor for the youth team was he did a sermon because the other pastor was out of town, and the way he broke things down and simplified and like he related everything to the historical context of like what was going on at the time, but he was very like thorough and very like well educated, and the way he broke it down, I felt like I was visualizing what was actually happening at the time, which was awesome. It was such a cool experience. But then, I've also the main pastor, he goes to the chapters, he breaks down the word, and he basically just kind of like explains it and gives, his thoughts and the interpretation, and kind of just really breaks down the word. Doesn't necessarily go into a lot of the historical facts of like, oh, okay, around this time, this is when this was this was this. Is like, no, this is what it's saying, and this is like kind of a message attached to it. He kind of like breaks it up into 3 sections of what you can learn from these verses. But then online, a lot of the times, like if I'm watching a sermon, a lot of the times it is a little bit different, where it's like the word is still included in there, but yeah, it's kind of like application and like practicality. Like this is how, this will apply to your life. So they're going through different life experiences, or they're bringing up other people's testimonies or experiences, or what they personally go through, and those are super helpful as well, man. So I don't necessarily think I have like a specific style I prefer. I think it just depends on like what I'm going through, what I'm being called to, what is what's really like on my mind that day. But I think like for example, like a church I'm gonna choose to go to, I really do want it to be learning the word and understanding the word and breaking down the word. So again, I think it's just kind of one of those things where it's like there's a time for all those different things. And, I see a lot of, there's a lot on TikTok where you come across other people doing different versions, and you learn something different from every one of them, So it's cool to see, though, that there is so many different styles of it. And there's so many different ways that they all go about it and bring their own experiences and the experiences of other people that they've, worked with and discipled and stuff like that. So it's been an interesting journey so far. But again, to go back to like what I would prefer to go to in person is 100% like a Bible study type of experience and sermon for sure. What about you?
Nice. I mostly agree with that, but I do really like. I have another question that I just thought of that I want to ask you, but just to answer that is I like the ones that you break down the word. Like I prefer that over, self-confidence. And then these are all the verses that apply to self-confidence. Like I don't necessarily think that's as effective unless I'm looking for that specifically, which makes sense on why they're teaching like that. But as a church I want to go to, I want the breakdown, but I've been loving, I don't know if it's just because I've grown up in church, so I've heard a lot of the same things. So it's like I just get a different perspective on it now, or if it's just because that's just like how my brain likes it better. But I love the historical side of it. Like I feel like I understand the intensity or what it actually meant, or how serious this actually was, or how personal this actually was, or like I feel like me personally, it gives me a way better understanding on why it was in the Bible and why it happened the way it did. Like the biggest shock for me was, do you know the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego?
No.
So long story short, the king like made a huge statue, and he's like, "Yo, everyone's gonna bow down to me." And then everyone bowed down to him except these three dudes, because they're like, "No, we only bow down to one God." Blah blah blah. Right? The king gets super pissed off and then sends them to burn in a furnace, like a big fiery furnace. Okay. So then the soldiers get them, and I guess it was so hot that the soldiers that were outside of it like died, and but they didn't. They came out untouched by the fire, and when a soldier looked into the furnace, they said there was 4 men instead of 3. So they're saying that like Jesus or an angel or God himself was in there protecting them, right?
Right.
That's like the very, very basic short version of that story.
Sure.
Right? And I've always knew it was a cool story. I've always known it, blah, 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 all right? Right? But I never understood like why it was such a big deal. Like why was this, like that is what they got for not bowing down to you? Like just like shoot them in the face or something, you know what I mean? Decapitate them, like put them in a burning furnace, all 3 of them. Like I feel like that's just so excessive. Yeah. Right? And then I found out that the historical part was that these 3 men were like, I think they were, I'm going to get it wrong, but I think they were like Israelites, right? And then they got taken over by this king, and they were trusted though. So they were like his like accountants and bank, like they were like in charge of his money. Like they were very high ranking, and they were very close to that king. So he took it very personally because they were like essentially like his right hand men. And like knowing that makes it like, to me, like blew my mind even more. Because like now they're not only like saying like no king, but they're like no like close person. Like I know I'm hurting, and I know this is gonna hurt.
It brings
like
another level to it.
Exactly. Instead of like me reading a story on pages, it's like reading it versus watching a movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you cry more often watching a movie than you do reading a book, because you see it more. You can see the emotion, you can feel the emotion, so you can relate to it more, and you can empathize with it.
Sure.
If I didn't know that, I would just be like, wow, this crazy king, like that's wild. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he just wanted
to
torture them.
He wasn't just like this like evil king trying to torture them. It was like, it was a lot more personal than that. And it was a lot more
I
crazy
really enjoy that too.
Yeah, so it's like things like that, like it just blows my mind, because like then I get this whole new perspective on this same story that I've known all along.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
like,
no, I agree. I agree. And it kind of, because I'm not like a super history buff either, but I do find it, fascinating. So I think when like that context is there, it really just it helps you to understand. It helps you to learn from it, and it brings a sense of just like more of the human perspective to it, right? Because now you're understanding like the versus them just being like three random people. Now that you knew they were connected to him, you're understanding that like they were close to him, man. This was betrayal, this to them, right? But to them, they're like, but I serve God. I don't serve you, and I'm not gonna bow down to you. I work for you, but that doesn't mean I serve you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, it definitely brings that extra level of knowledge to it, which I find very fascinating as well, and I think it helps to be able to explain to people when you need to as well.
And then last question, just so we can wrap up the episode because we're running a little long. I've always wondered this, but I've never been able to know personally because I did grow up in church. So as someone that didn't grow up in church and now like you're going to church, you're starting to read your Bible, all that stuff, right? Like you're getting to know a lot more about the word and God and things like that. Do worship songs make more sense now? Because I feel like that was one thing that I've always wondered. Not wondered, but like because I knew it was weird. But a lot of the, for me personally, like when they were teaching like, oh, this is how you're supposed to spread the gospel to people when you're talking to them. And like they would use certain words and phrases. And I'm like, that only works if you know what I'm talking about. If you know the story of Jesus, if you know about the sacrifice. Like me going up to a random stranger that knows nothing about the Bible and be like, Jesus is the Lamb of God, and his blood shed for your sins. They're going to look at me like I'm tripping balls. Like, what does that mean? Like, the Lamb of God, like the sheep shedding blood, the sacrifice of and like, it's just like certain words and phrases only make sense if you already know. So when it comes to worship music, clearly it's made for the church, so they use phrases like that and words that obviously you have to be a Christian to know. So like, have you ever, like, were there songs that you were like, I have no idea what this means, but then you listen to it again and then you're like, oh, that's what this is talking about?
Yeah, I mean, even I realized, because I think it was this past week when I went, there was a song that like I could see some verses in there, like they used some verses in the song. And I was like, oh, like that makes so much sense. Like they're basically converting verses into a song, which is such a cool and amazing thing, because again, it's another way to spread the word. But for me, because I grew up because I went to Catholic school, so I went to Catholic church. But like the songs, it's so different nowadays. Like the songs were just like played on a piano, and they were sung by just a few people. But now it's like they get up there and it's there's like guitars and drums, and it's like a whole band, so it resonates a lot more with like I guess my style of music. So but back to your point, like when I was first started going again, as a believer now, it was weird. I didn't really like, I was like, okay, sing along. But yeah, I didn't understand a lot of it. And a lot of it was confusing. And I wasn't able to like point out certain things, because again, sometimes different songs are about different books. Different songs are about different people. So even if they're referencing somebody, I'm like, who is that? But now that I'm reading and understanding, it's like, oh, like that makes sense. And I think that's a big thing, because now you understand like why you're praising it. You understand like the context behind it, right? I mean, it's even like if you listen to, it's like, just to give it a comparison to like modern day, if you were to listen to like a Drake or Kendrick diss track and you had no idea about either of them, you'd be like, what are these two guys saying? Or like, more so when they're not directly referencing something, but if they're sneak dissing each other, the people that know about them will understand it, and the people that don't will be like, what does this even mean, right? So, just to give a very modern day perspective, but when you do understand the stories, when you do understand, Jesus and who he was and why you praise and why you believe and all these different aspects of it, it does start to make a lot more sense. And it's, it makes for, you to be able to join in more clearly, right? Now you're not just reading words, you're actually giving praise for that because you understand where it's coming from. So yeah, it's definitely been cool, man. I've really been enjoying that aspect too. I mean, they make some great songs over there.
Oh yeah.
And and nowadays there's like styles for everybody. There's Christian rap, there's Christian pop, there's Christian country, probably
Metal,
but yeah, there's so many things that like it's really cool to see, man, that there's been such an expansion in that, and there's so many people trying to just make it more accessible, and still keeping true to the word, but also just adapting these different styles so that like the younger generation can relate to it, and they can also join in with this praise, So yeah, that's a good question though.
Sweet. Well, that's a wrap, I'm assuming, because my coffee is knocking at the other end already. So thank you for tuning on in for this episode. We hope you liked it. We did talk about a lot. So answer some of the questions. Have you ever gotten a wedgie or given one? If so, what's your story? What do you think about? Do you have answers to some of our Bible questions or any other websites that you have gone to for references? Also, pumpkin spice, Starbucks, yay or nay? Let us know.
Yeah, and let us know if there's any other pumpkin spice spots you want us to, or you have recommendations for, because, I don't really know of any, so I'm just going to have to do my own research, I guess.
Yeah, and I don't like doing that. That's why I quit the other podcast. So, let us know. If you forgot our names, once again, my name's Gabriel.
I'm Tyler.
And let us know topics and questions that you got. We do check our comments and DMs, so we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
See ya.